thank you to Topaz Wolf for their generous donation on Patreon. If you would like to join them in their generosity, the link to my Patreon page is in the description. Hello, everyone! My name is Deckerlink, the trained unprofessional, and welcome back to the Hayseed night. The Hayseed. Okay, so before I get into explaining what this is, I want to give a quick disclaimer. This is the first video for the main channel in terms of gameplay that I have recorded since I got my wisdom tooth surgery. The surgery itself happened 11 days ago, and I'm almost through the recovery process. I'm still taking some painkillers. I accidentally kind of fucked up one of the blood clots. Won't go into the full details on that because it could be kind of gross to some people. So the main thing to bear in mind here is my voice might seem a little different because I haven't recorded in a while. My enunciation might be not the best, so I chose a game that I know has voice acting and that is pretty self-leading, so I'm not overtly worried about it. Oh, hey, hi Faxi, thank you for the subscription. So, the Hayseed night. So, you might notice it says chapters 1 through 3. You can actually see the cursor. Nice. I don't remember how much was released in the itch.io version, but this is on Steam now. They got it as a Steam release, and I am super excited about that. Very congratulatory sentiments, because I know how to speak properly. Congratulations to Maxi, aka Sandra MJ Dev, their official Twitter and seemingly business handle. Very fucking, I just realized Sandra, the A is like a ah, so it would be Moxie? I don't know. I have terrible ways with words. That's why I want to be a professional speaker person. Yay. But yes, very, very happy for Moxie. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go with Maxi for now. About, about getting released on Steam. A huge moment for any dev. So congratulations. Enough kissing ass. Let's see what this is. Wait. One last thing before we start. Even if you've played before, start this version again from the beginning. There's a bunch of new scenes. That's important to note because this might be in the same playlist as the Hayseed night and the stuff I've did before. But this is basically soft reboot style. Oh, I just realized. Is this not Renpy? I don't know. I was going to try to adjust the graphics because my computer has a tendency to fuck with those. So I have to like manually adjust them. But, oh, got it. There it is. I absolutely love the main screen song. I just love it. I heard they actually had to change the fucking build because it had a link to Patreon, which is so dumb. I hate that Steam has that as a policy, but just another reason to point out that you can still support the development of this game and the creator independent of buying it on Steam. But you should also buy it on Steam. I believe right now it's on sale, actually. I don't know if it will be by the time this is out, but it's still very cheap regardless. I can't wait any longer. Let's get into it. This version includes up to Chapter 3 updated designs all over the place and several new scenes and rewrites from the first chapters. Anything displayed is subject to change in later versions. As always, keep up with development on my Twitter account. Yes, as I say in the newly revamped fucking... Jesus Christ. Bri is also in the room. But as I say in the newly revamped outro, a lot of these games I play are in development, including this one. So when you go to support, or if you want to play this game yourself, be kind and patient and understanding of possible future changes. All right. Ooh.
Holy horns! What's with this place? It's ancient. Are you sure we're allowed to be here?
Oh, okay. That was a lot. Look at this. Look at the hub. Oh, he gets to be the voice of the narrator. You're allowed to be anywhere as long as no one finds you. I can't fucking hear myself when I got too earphones on. That's why I usually keep one off. So I gotta go with the flow here.
You're allowed to be anywhere as long as no one finds you.
Got a big hat. Sneaking through forgotten cracks in a wall is not as easy as it once was, but I still managed to push my hat and my staff in somehow without wrecking the wall any further. Today's a mess, but the last thing I want is the whole city knowing that I'm back on my nonsense, namely helping fawns trespass into abandoned temples in pursuit of fixing the written lies that pass as history these days. Ooh.
I'm too old for this rubbish.
I catch a glimpse of Lynn's expression as I push my scarf over my face again.
My newest headache looks entirely unconvinced by my logic. Look, we're already here, and you're going to need all the help you can get, kid. I don't have time to explain every single little thing to you. If said kid still has any qualms left about following me here, she has the rare decency not to voice them.
Oh, I recognize this art.
I mean, this whole ordeal was her fault, in a very roundabout sort of way. Still her fault nonetheless. It's anyone's but mine, at least. I didn't come all the way back to this city to do charity for his descendants. I just wanted to find that dumbass's grave and clean up a little, or leave some incense or something, not this. I wasn't looking to hear legends about any so-called knight of the upper field. I know the books in this library won't say a word about him, but I had to come back to this place anyway. The unlikely possibility of finding a trace of his existence among the broken tablets and burnt codices is far too compelling to ignore. Here I am, still following in his footsteps, like the few unlucky scripts that time and thieves spared, frozen in their shells as they await the return of someone who will understand them. We have a lot in common, this library and I. The kid's eyes open a fraction wider, and I only managed to narrowly avoid the incoming onslaught of questions. Here, ink, paper, you can write, right?
Of course! You're talking to the fastest.
Shut up, Ascadaz.
Razzmatazz. I have missed the charming ass narration. The dialogue and it's just the fucking animation of the characters and the art is so fucking happy. I love it. I have a few theories about who the narrator is. I mean, there's the short stature, which I think leads to our favorite mute. Then, of course, there's the hat, which means it could be the bard-ish character. I'm gonna leave my hints vague. I don't actually know, for the record. I don't know shit. I haven't played this newest build. All of this is fucking new, so I have no fucking clue. I do know that Ascadaz looks a lot like a certain other character, but I don't want to be speciesist in case there's no relation.
Sheesh, you're really adding some flavor to my name, huh? Where did all that salt come from? Or could that be the sweetness of an old flame leaving such a bitter aftertaste?
Wow. That's a bit on the fucking nose, isn't it? I'm trying to get the audio balancing right, but it's a little hard to do on the spot, all in OBS. I can't adjust it later because all of it gets condensed down to one audio track, so I'm sorry if it is a little fucky for a while.
Now don't do that. It makes you sound like your mother.
Uh-oh. Again, a little on the nose there.
I mean, her mother. Or her great-great-great-grandmother? I can't believe the story has derailed this much. How long have I been gone?
Well, about a year or so. Sorry. A little shit to give. Just give it a little shit.
I can't even start to guess if you won't tell me how old you are.
Uh-oh. You don't ask someone their age.
I'm entirely too old to care about something as dumb as numbers.
Well, gee, I'm starting to see why you wanted me here. Do you have a name, or are you too cool for letters too?
My name would only doom this project. You will be me, and I will be nothing more than the space between words.
What a droll way to say you want me getting lynched for this.
Jesus.
I can still keep the story to myself and tell you to get lost, kid.
But you won't, because after hearing my name, you realize I'm the chosen gazelle that legend of old prophesied would tell the true story of the night, right?
Jesus Christ.
I could use a little encouragement here, not gonna lie.
Listen, Lynn.
Or Lean. I don't know how to pronounce anything anymore. I'm sorry.
I don't believe in chosen ones, and I certainly don't know what the truth is. I doubt Ada himself ever knew. But I am going to tell you the story I know. I will tell it once, and I will probably tell it wrong, since I can barely remember it anymore. But even so, anything I say will be 1,000 times more accurate than any of the odes this witless bunch of fop-doodles have been singing through the ages. This may be Ada's punishment for lying his way into history, but I still can't let the name of a friend be smeared like that. So what I mean to say is that I will skewer you if you interrupt me and make me forget something.
Fair.
I already love the dynamic between these two.
She finally shuts up for a moment, but I know the silence won't last. Right, good. I guess I should put my own thoughts in order before we begin. His story started back when he left his village to... No, that would be too long. His story starts when he became a knight, and... No, that defeats the point. I guess his story... Well... I guess his story starts with me. I could allow myself that much merit, right?
Who are you again?
Yeah, who are you? Have I been fucking up this voice the whole time?
I am the one who tells the story. You write. Okay. All right. Here we go. Chapter 1.
Ooh, the Fickle Queen. Or, what better way to start a story than when things are about to go south? Oh, that's the writing style of the century right there.
Adder.
Yes? There's that hat.
Hey, lad.
Hat. That's the fucking hat that I was referring to. Yeah?
Do we have to go through this every single fuck?
Yeah! I'm a little, man, here's the thing, is that setup at the beginning there is different than the one that I originally saw. And so the concept of Adder lying his way into history and stuff like that is honestly very intriguing to me, because the way we see him characterized thus far through what we've played would not indicate any sort of malice. So, obviously, a story has to happen where characters change and go through adventures. And little dumb of me to say all this, Surly.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Oh, man. So that is an interesting thought that I really hadn't put it together before. I kind of already had it in mind who was who. But now I'm looking at that hat, and I'm like, whose hat does that look like?
A beast!
Oh, Adder entry unlocked, Yoff entry unlocked. What entry? What the fuck are you talking about? Is that the history? Oh no, that's just a transcript. Then what fucking entry are you talking about? By the way, I like the sound effect when you click it and it goes back to it's like, ah. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's right fucking here. You almost don't even notice it's there. It's like, whoa! Holy shit, what the fuck? What is all of this? Oh my god, I can only imagine that this is gonna get so fucking full if there's a search option. Alright, we got characters, lore. Oh, what? Oh, man. We haven't, what? Planets? We're going to multiple planets? What? Hold on, that really said planets. Plural. And there's this sorting mode to that. Oh. Welcome to the Encyclopaedia. If you want to learn all about the characters in the world they live in, make sure to come back often. Okay, this is a pet peeve for me, personally. This stuff is useful in, like, RPGs, or, like, strategy games, or mystery games. In narratives, this feels like homework. Oh, man. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Characters. We got Adder. What's up, bro? I like the sketches. That's a very good use of, like, sketch work. Oh, man. Okay, so Adderson, nicknamed Adder, son of Gerfaz of the Upper Field. Reminds me of... Just got a flashback to Vicar of Dibley. If I can find the clip, I'll put it here.
Is that no parking is allowed in the upper field, or parking is allowed in the upper field?
No, parking is allowed on the upper field. Okay?
That won't make any sense unless you know the show. Age, they scratched out 19 through 24 and put old enough to drink in this tavern, Miss Barkeep. Species is a roe deer. Birthplace, Ravine, ow, my ear, what the hell? Something fucking exploded in my ear. Here's hoping I don't die from it, whatever it was. Ravine, Olus. Oh, how the hell do you even pronounce that? The Zanzibar province. I'm sorry. I am an ignorant American who doesn't know how to pronounce anything properly. Adder long neck short horns, or adder shovel hands, sometimes adder shoe face, is just a bumpkin with a long name and longer hands who left his tiny village Ravine Olus to move to the great city of Heirloom. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. No one quite knows why, but he arrived with a single objective in mind: becoming a knight. But he's a peasant, and pretty damn poor at that. Well, that's not gonna stop him, is it? Well, it kinda is. Dreams aren't edible after all. Lives in Slander District with a self-proclaimed best friend, Gyoff. There's an arrow. Oh, okay. So we've read that now. Gyoff. Oh, man. Okay. Gyoff, son of Igai, honeyed voice. Yeah, you can. He sings like all of his lines. Age, guess, yeah, probably. Species, a cane deer. Birthplace is Heirloom, okay. Gyoff is, as he will make sure to tell you at some point or another, be it relevant or not, the son of Igai, a famous troubadour that wandered through... God, with all these fucking words. Akazor, playing in the most important places. All that Igai left for Gyoff was his voice and his debts, however. He claims to be Adder's only friend and supporter in his quest to become a knight, a claim that is questionable at best and dubious at most. Bad at drinking, bad at playing, a bad influence, and a bad friend. But hey, he lets Adder live for free with him in his old run-down house in the Slander District. Well, that's not nothing. It's almost nothing, but it's nothing. It's not nothing. The Knight of the Upper Field. Look at this cool. They got less sunglasses. No, that's an eye patch. Addison of Azkadaz, Knight of the Upper Field. Age. This is his like future entry. He gets a hoodie. That's awesome. And his horns get bigger? Question mark? Maybe they're fake horns. Because this is all about how history gets changed over time. Species roe deer, birthplace, ravine of Olus. That's different. It was Aeolus before, but now it's just Olus. And still got that province. I have no idea. Akazor's... Fuck! Akazor's most beloved hero knight also happens to be Akazor's most disputed character. Who was he? What business did he have in the great city of Heirloom? How did he climb his way to fame? Did he really slay a beast? Why did he never wield a sword? Who were his allies? Who were his foes? It would all be rather clearer if the protagonist of these tales hadn't spent half his life exaggerating just about every single thing he did. Oh, man. Got a Hulk Hogan complex. A guy who actually has accomplishments but makes them way bigger out than it needs to be. Alright, so that's the characters we have thus far. Lore. Oh, I don't want to read all of this. I specifically picked this game because I was very excited to play it and because I knew it had voice acting so I wouldn't be straining my fucking face. Alright. It wouldn't be here if it wasn't important. Here we go. Magic. The Sephihet. The Sephihet. Sephi is the name received by Barhan practitioners of Sephihet, a highly sophisticated form of reality alteration, what the common folk boil down to mere magic. Sephihet consists on the manipulation of the Hatza itself, using godstones as a source of energy for more advanced practitioners, one's own emotional responses. Oh, several pages per entry. I can't wait for more of this. Deer and magic. As much as deer distrust anything they cannot hit with their antlers, Sephihet is as necessary to their comfort and success as it was in the heyday of Basaxarat. Fuck. Therefore, deer have schools where the same concepts are taught under a different name, of course. Zarzgan is the term used for Ekain wizards who did their absolute best at rebranding to avoid associating any negative connotation to their watered-down version of the same concept. Cool. Lore again. We're now in the monsters. We got a beast. Parents all over the steppes tell their children that these horrible creatures will come to feast upon their flesh if they don't behave. What are these monsters? What are these monsters said? What are these monsters said to feel? What? What are these monsters said to feel? Nothing but an intense desire to devour and destroy. I don't understand that. Created by Ahimai during the War of Two, the beast's only purpose was to exact revenge upon Baitat's creations. The deer that had taken over Dakna. They were defeated. I'm so sorry. They were defeated and destroyed after one of their own shared their only weakness with the deer. Baitat rewarded him by granting him immortality like a deer and a deer-like appearance, thus becoming the immortal High King. What is a fake? That still rules over Akazor to this day. Wise people know that they shouldn't fear the monsters they can't see, but rather the ones they do. Okay. Oh, there's so many. There's so many. Golem. Lifelike puppets created by Saphis during the Barhan Rebellion. They were built to carry specific tasks, carry out specific tasks, from serving tea to wreaking havoc, and resemble a cane with the sole intention to mock the deer. Ooh, who's a little deer? Tradition dictates that their frames... oh god. Tradition dictates that the frames are made of brass, porcelain, or marble, making the bulk of their body an inner core made of rock, crystal, and silk, fur grass or red hair decorating their heads and tails. Upon purchase, they would bear the mark of the gazelle that had bought them, forsaking all connection to their creator. Most were destroyed during and after the Bahan Rebellion, so the ones that remain reach quite a high price among collectors. Cool. Oh, now we're on to religion. Ugh. Oh, good. Multiple pages per entries. Baitatza, the Hatza, and Oblivion. I know that word. Baitatzi is, simply put, the cosmos. The all. It is an entity that connects the universe together. It is not seen as a god in any way, but rather as an unconscious entity. The very essence of reality. Everything that surrounds us and holds existence together. Often represented as an empty box. While some regional cults speak of Baitats being created by other gods, more traditional views maintain that Baitats is in charge of providing every god with a sandbox in which to exercise their powers. Now for Hatsa. The union between Baitats and Dakna is known as Hatsa, a current that passes through every living being, connecting with their very blood. Every being blocks the stream that passes through them to some degree, but only those who know the way of Sepharhat can truly tap into the current and block it completely, gathering more and more Hatsa behind them as they live. This makes them wise and powerful, but it weighs down on them, eroding their bodies and minds away little by little. Once every being dies, the current continues its path like a furious torrent, carrying some of the previous block's strength to be passed on to the next creature that it was fated to inhabit. In this way, all the bloodlings are connected to each other, and no two living people can be part of the same current. Now for Oblivion. The polar opposite is Oblivion. Bloodlings believe that having their connection to the Hatsa erased somehow is the worst punishment possible, since they, and any creature that would have been connected to them, would cease to exist in any way. Only the worst criminals and Cephis are condemned to oblivion, the complete erasure of not only a person, but the very memory of you, a sentence to be apart from the world for all of the lives that may share your current. Every curse or otherwise ill-meaning Sephiret has their basis on this concept, an alteration to your connection to the Hatsa. If you encounter small gods or cursed people, take a moment to pity them, for it's rarely their fault that it became either. Wow. Existence after death. In the world of Dakna, life is celebrated for as long as it lasts, but death is not wept with much ardor. Life is borrowed from the future and taken from the past. It is therefore understood that death is an eventuality, but not a permanent state of the soul, for it is something borrowed from the universe itself. The punishment for Sephiret is to be burned in life, in an attempt to have all future lives remember the suffering that comes from stealing from the future. Wow. I remember talking philosophy with either Maxie or Moxie. I'm gonna stick with Maxie for now, but know that I mean no disrespect if that is incorrect. I've briefly spoken about philosophy with Maxie before, and I always found it very interesting. They're a very smart person. First Age, the War of Two. The world of Dakna was entrusted to Ahimai originally. He decided to turn it into a vast garden that he could watch over and modify to his own tastes. During a long nap, his younger brother, Baitat, snuck into his garden and began adding his own creatures to it. At first, he carved figures out of marble, mere puppets that he could play with, those of the golems. But he soon grew bored. Thus, he decided to invent a new concept, the bloodlings. Weak creatures that came and went in a blink for him, changing constantly. Creations that soon learnt to use Ahimai's flora to grow strong and have lives of their own that Baitat could watch. The creation of beasts. The first didn't take lightly to waking up just to find most of his garden turned into a steppe. In a single night, he created a new species, one that would live exclusively to hunt Baitat's creations, the beasts. Not one to be bested like that, Baitat decided to create more and more deer to fight his older brother, eventually starting the cosmic equivalent of a fist fight, the War of Two. The battle came to an end when one of the beasts turned against his own kind and revealed their weakness to the deer. Baitat himself granted him immortality for that, giving Akazor its legendary High King, Shafik. Okay. Why doesn't it default to the fucking thing we were just on? Okay, so we went from first age. Let's skip over the fourth age to the second age. Let's read this in order. I don't know when the three brothers shows up, but we'll piece that in when we get to it. Second age. After War of Two, the gods disappeared. Millennia passed without a single word from any god, and in a time that would be known as the Long Silence. During this time, the beast that revealed the weakness to his kind to the deer, Isifik, roamed the steppes looking to unite the deer tribes. He would go on to become the immortal High King Isifik. We kind of got that from the last one. Third age, the second creation. The Long Silence came to an end with the abrupt apparition of a new figure in the skies. Thus arrived Hirab, an uncharacteristically enthusiastic god that looked forward to fix the damage caused by the War of Two. He was too young to create his own life forms, however, and instead decided to compose new beings out of his older brother's creations. But that wasn't enough for Hirab. He wanted his new creations to rule sovereign, thus starting the Bahan Rebellion. So those would be the three brothers. The three brothers being the gods themselves. So we'll fucking read the fourth age, and then we'll go back and learn more about the three brothers fighting over their knickknacks. The Sublimation of the Arrogant, or more commonly, the Bahan Rebellion, started 437 years prior to the story, when the representant... What? Is that supposed to be representative of Hirab, declared that the land of Basakarat would no longer be independent from the kingdom of Akazor, but rather replace it. Taking the title of Jasif, oh my god, Omagapseb Stonebridge created an army of Safis, powerful Bahan wizards and golems that advanced dangerously fast towards Heirloom. It is said that Isafik himself put an end to the war, but all sources are greatly exaggerated. Be it as it may, the war ended 30 years after its inception, and things haven't looked up for gazelles ever since. Alright, let's hear about these brothers. It is said that there are many, many gods and Baitats. Akazor's mainstream religion, however, recognizes only 3 of them as protectors of Dakna. The brothers, or the 3. Ahimai, also known as the first, the older brother, or Forester. Creator of all the planets and the beasts, extensively worshipped in sacred gardens in the city. Farmers ask for his blessing in every harvest. Baitat, also known as the second, the middle brother, or dear father, creator of the Arcane, worshipped in the biggest temples of the cities, represented by the High King himself. Hirab, also known as the third, the youngest brother of the Fervent, creator of the Makad and Barhan, once greatly worshipped in both Akazor and Basakarat, but there are no functioning temples devoted to him anymore. Oh, that's so sad. Alright, now we got the seasons. Oh good, there's 4 seasons. As in 4 pages about seasons. Here's a brief review of the climate. Man, can we get to the story before we start talking about the weather? Here's brief review. Another typo. Here is brief review of the climate throughout the year in the Arcane steppes. The Arcane calendar is divided in 10 moons, grouped in 3 major seasons for religious reasons. Flower scents, usually lasting between 1 and 3 moons. Dawn-soon, which reliably lasts around 6 moons. Bleak night, which rarely lasts more than 2 moons. You can read more about each season in the following pages. Well, let's start then. Flower scents. The most forgiving season in Akazor, with mild temperatures, occasional rain, and abundant food. This season officially starts with the first bloom of the sacred truce tree. This season holds a variety of festivities in honor of Ahimai, the oldest brother, asking him for good harvests and to keep his beasts away 1 more year. A deer's first marriage traditionally takes place in flower scents, to be properly blessed with fertility and strength to endure their life together. Superstition has it that marrying again in the same season will instead cause the new wife to wilt away like a flower before dawn soon arrives. Ooh, that's scary. Well, here's dawn soon, the hottest season in Akazor, when clouds migrate back to far beyond the mountains and the spine of Ahimai. This season officially starts with the first ripened fruit of the sacred truce tree. There won't be rain in the Arcane Steppes for 6 full moons, and once the clouds return, they bring ice with them as a present from the frozen lands. A famed festival takes place every year during the first week of Dawnsoon in Heirloom. Though it is nowadays seen as a farewell party to the lesser gods that live in the clouds, it was originally a Barhan celebration involving offerings to appeal to the Jasif's leniency. Last one, we got Bleak Night. The coldest season in Akazor, with frequent snow and cold winds coming from the sea. This season officially starts with the last leaf falls from the sacred truce tree. Famines have been a bit more forgiving in this season since the Arcane began planting tubercules as a way to save space and accidentally figured out that they were resistant to the cold. Well, ain't that convenient? Barhan. There's 3 pages about one species. The once proud gazelles are bloodlings created by Hirab to prosper in the desert kingdom of Basakarat, now consumed by the sands of time, much like the history of its people. Great wizards and avid researchers during the second creation, they are easy to spot due to their extremely resilient coiled horns, short fur, most commonly sand-colored in Basakarat's mainland, with darker variations along coastal areas, a slim body that presents little variation across sexes, and most remarkably, the fact that both men and women are horned. Ancient tablets and scroll paint towards past petty divisions among the divisions of definition of what constitutes a Barhan, much like these there's a typo, amongst Arcane, but the only major dispute that persists to this day is that of the Ibex. Well, I imagine we'll get to them. After the war, that would come to be known as the Sublimation of the Arrogant, or more commonly, the Barhan Rebellion. They were given 2 choices. Either being banished to Actemuizirat, the frozen land beyond the spine of Ahimai, or take refuge in Akazor, provided they swore allegiance to the High King Isafik. That wasn't all, of course. They had to give up all their research on Sephahet, the manipulation of the Hatza or magic for the common folk, to the deer, abandon Basaktet, definitely in favor of Syrnar, swear off Sephahet under penalty of total obliteration from existence, and pay a monthly tribute per family to the local government. Well, that just sounds fucking really terrible. Social standing. Gazelles present a myriad of contradictions to a majorly servine society with a deep horn fixation. There's no better example than the concept of horn eaters and the stigma that follows deer that have Barhan cohorts. Their innate attunement to the Hatza and long history of wizardry still haunt them, painting them as dormant menaces, the villains of hundreds of tales. Conversely, their agile minds and smaller frames are described lovingly, conveying a deeply condescending and paternalistic servine desire to protect a species that has been stripped from the inventions that allowed it to thrive. Gazelles are therefore perceived as the personification of primness, commonly employed by richer Servine families as trusted management positions or as household servants, and sly tricksters that use their quicker wits and magic disposition to cheat, deceive, and curse deer in the street. So they're what, like the Romani, I imagine. Just constantly shit on for no good fucking reason. Alright, here's the Arcane. 4 pages on the Arcane. The oldest bloodlings that still roam the land, the deer population is mostly located in the Arcane steppes. In fact, Arcane is just an abbreviation of the Basaktet phrase. Is this punishment for like having that long ass word in the original build that I swore I'd learn how to say, and now you're just all of the big confusing words now. Akaya pnetnet. Fuck it. Those who are red inside. I have to get it. I at least have to try. Akaya pnetan. Akai pnetnan. Fucking hell. They were created on a whim by Tat after he snuck into his brother's garden and have been at odds with the most plants ever since. The beasts are their natural enemies for that very reason. They take pride in having strong frames, value darker fur tones and longer coats, and in case it wasn't obvious enough, there is no such thing as oversized antlers for a stag. A powerful rack is, after all, the most prominent and valuable trait a male deer can develop. A sign of dominance and virility, inherited from an age that preceded the concept of logic or reason. They have been united under High King Isafik's rule since the Long Silence, though some tribes remain independent far to the west. Their social standing. Deer are most likely the dominant species in Dakna. The Arcane population extends across the vast expanse that belongs to Akizor. Oh hey, my friend Kyle is playing Cyberpunk 2077, that's fun. What was I? Oh, surpassed only in numbers by Ibex in Actemuiserat and Makadar in the various forests of people. There are several vastly differentiated rank within this position of privilege. Oh boy, from the lords that watch over the many provinces of Akizor that live to continuous expansion, to the many mayors and guildsmen required to keep towns running without the aid of their so-called protectors, to caravaners, sailors, merchants, artisans, and dancers, down to the farmers, miners, and lastly, the many lesser professions one may acquire through the kingdom. No official rank matters quite so much as that of horn size, though. Any peasant with vast enough horns can earn even the attention of a noble. Any noble rendered hornless would speak as loudly as the lowliest mud picker. Ooh, man. The Arcane identity. Arcanes come in all manner of sizes, coats, and colors. The life of a stag is a constant battle to prove their worth to the kinsmen from the moment their horns are turned to live bone by the Zarzagan of their town upon their third shed. And this pointless battle to prove who is and who is not truly worthy of the title of true deer extends to their identity as a species. Red deer, with their long brown coats and huge curved antlers, are vastly recognized as undisputed Arcane, keeping the name firmly for themselves, and designated all the others, fallow deer from the northern steppes with their palmed horns and wide range of shades, roe deer from the southern reaches and with their short antlers and sand-colored coats, pewds, the smallest nomads that roam the steppes, etc. Pudus? I don't know. Roes firmly believe to themselves to be Arcane from antlers to hooves, but the rest of subspecies do not recognize them as such, believing their yellow fur to be the result of miscegenation, I don't know that word, with Barhans. They are biologically male and female. What? They are what? They are what? Oh, you can scroll. I didn't know that. They are extremely vocal about their bile towards horn eaters as a result. Okay, next page. Dimorphism and Gender. Biologically, male and female deer tend to differ quite a lot from birth, but gender is not seen as a perpetual sentence. In spite of, or perhaps due to, how much a stag's life revolves around proving what their identity is and the importance of horns as a signifier, gender is quite fluid and open among the steppes. A doe who did not manage to stop her shedding may, at any point in her life, choose to saw off her horns completely, with the only requirement that she saves them to give them to a stag that never grew his to begin with, so that they too may have the right of age and have them turned to bone. Some choose to forego this ritual altogether, attaching their horns to helmets that they may put on and remove as they see fit. Ibex! Okay, there's only 2 pages about the ibex. Barhan, they call themselves, but they're the only ones who do so. Both deer and gazelles refer to the descendants of the banished Barhans by a new name, ibex. Not every Barhan kneeled down before the High King Isafik after losing the war. Some preferred to face the hardships of the eternal winter far beyond the spine of Ahimai, over giving up all of their traditions. Those brave few that settled far beyond the reaches of Akazor found protection and company in the forest of Makadar, and that populated the harsh lands of Aktemuisirat, for they were all children of Hirub. After the annihilation of Barhan civilization in Basakarat, the Ibex clung to the language and worship of their ancestors. They continue their worship of Hirub and pray for the day a Jasif will lead them to a new golden age. Their social standing. Can I scroll here? No. Ibex find themselves in quite a unique situation in regards to deer, being that they are not perceived as being the same species as gazelles. They manage to escape the history that still haunts their closest siblings in spite of being the most ardent defendants of what they perceive as true Barhan culture. Could it be Baran? You know, if you're not fucking putting all the emphasis behind the H. Could just be Baran. Even though deer were the direct cause of their situation, the two species are an astounding example of peaceful cohabitation, going as far as to intermarry with a few tribes of deer that live so far up north. This association was most likely helped by the fact that Ibex culture at large holds a deep resentment towards gazelles, seeing them as traitors that preferred to exchange their freedom for safety. Be it as it may, these mountain goats share little resemblance to their desert-dwelling ancestors. The harsh conditions of Aktemuisirat gave place to shorter and sturdier ibex, greatly educated warriors who are often hired as caravan guards and mercenaries in petty inside wards all over the kingdom. Whew. Alright, now for the Makadar, before we get to the Makadeer. Makadar are children of Hirub, just like gazelles. The tree men were the youngest brother's first attempt at creating new living beings, and it's still discussed whether they are bloodlings or not, since they reproduce via fruits and produce sap. The Makadar are gigantic and incapable of speech. They size well up, too, depending on your origin. 6 average deer, 7 gazelles, 26 arms, 30 feet, or 12 standardized Karnmay horns. They are huge and eerily silent. Makadar live hidden among standard trees, away from the public eye. Makadar townholds are known as forests of people. Now repeat after me. This is quote. Quote, I'm never walking into a forest of goddamn gigantic sentient trees in my life because I'm not an idiot. Makadar, end quote. Makadar and Ekane have a long relationship of mutual hatred because the deer refuse to abide by the sentence I just wrote. One more. We got the Makadeer. This dumb pun is the name that the hybrids of Makadar and Ekane receive, much to their chagrin. The deer quickly realized that once Makadar were created that their fruits weren't normal, but some Ekane had to eat them to realize that first. Makadeer are born as weak saplings that have to be planted. Understanding their rarity, the tree deer that survived soon gathered to form their own families. One such family that rose to prominence were the Buntalos, who abandoned the forest entirely and found their place in many places of Akazor as assistants and ambassadors. They are more deer than tree at this point, but it doesn't really show. Okay, is that all the lore? That's all the lore. Now the locations! Oh, man. Let's start big and move down. So we saw Dakna, as one of the planets. The world we inhabit is mainly composed of a single enormous continent that extends from the frozen northern reaches of Aktemusirat. I swear to God that there was an I missing in that. To the Icane steppes that are home to the biggest portion of Akazar. To the prairies of Zanzare. To the forest of people in the south, which are connected through an isthmus to the desert peninsula that used to occupy the kingdom of Basakarat. Holy hell. The vast majority of the world has an arid climate, where only steppe life forms thrive without the help of irrigation and similar technologies. This is the reason why, with the exception of Zanzare, where the climate is very forgiving and water is abundant, the nomadic people that live off herding bushes and digging for underground water, town all across Dakna form and survive exclusively around exuberant oases and lakes. Alright, now down to the kingdoms. First we got Akazor. Akazor is a huge kingdom located on the eastern end of the steppes. It is ruled in its entirety by the immortal High King Isafik, a beast of legend turned deer that has been sitting on his throne and heirloom since time immemorial. Helping him govern each province and continue its expansion, lords descended from the original deer that helped Isafik in battle other beasts rule each province, having petty inside wars and applying the laws as they see fit, knowing well that they're protected by their status as nobles. Akazor suffers from a horrible problem of mismanagement, where most of its resources are destined to their capital just to keep the huge famines that devastate it every Donsoon under check. Alright, what about the other kingdom, Basakarat? Basakarat is the name given to the Barhan kingdom that occupied the southern end of the continent, a desert peninsula connected to the rest of Dakna by an isthmus occupied by a perennial forest of people. The kingdom was lost to the sands of time 4 centuries ago, buried by deer with a lot of swords and torches. Well, that's sad. Alright, what about the cities? We got Heirloom, the capital of Akazor, and the most populated city in the whole of Dakna, the jewel of the Icane steppes, always growing in the isthmus that separates the lake from the Alar Sea. Despite the apparent lack of space, Heirloom has a huge overpopulation problem, which is due to its location in the middle of a mostly infertile steppe overridden by bandits, the cause of an ongoing famine. The royal court only inhabits the palace that towers over the city from bleak night to dawn soon, moving to smaller palaces far up to the north in the hot moons of dawn soon. So that's all the locations. Now the dictionary. Okay, we only got a couple here. We got Basaktet. Basaktet is known as the first language, since it was spoken by the gods themselves. It is extremely complex, with sentences being a huge conglomeration of words that keep changing depending on the word that comes before and after to form long syllabic strings of what can only be defined as nonsense for the untrained. The very trained, and anyone who hasn't spent the last 40 years listening to it. This is where you're shitting on me here. With the rise of Syrnar during the second creation and the apparition of Hirub, Barhans took it upon themselves to preserve this ancient language in order to please their creator. The only bloodlings that still speak Basaktet, though somewhat simplified, are Ibex. Barhan lingo, or gazelle speak, is notable for containing traces of Basaktet, taken out of context and often misconstructed, i.e. is Ishkap, literally from a place, translates to dolt, as it's derived from Etishkapasha, one that falls from their chair. That's fun. And one more, we got Syrnar. Syrnar is the language of the steppes, a simplified version of Basaktet, mainly differentiated in the composition of words and the use of spaces for clarification. Syrnar began being recognized as a different language by the end of the War of Two, but it was considered inferior to Basik Ted until the Barhan Rebellion with the fall of the Kingdom of Basakarat. Deer population has been increasing steadily since they discovered that the gods wouldn't smite them for breathing in between words. Oh, that's fun. Okay, so we've read it all. Oh, it's Basaksurat. I've been saying Basakarat. Ah, fucking hell. I mean, no one expects me to get this shit right, hopefully. Wow, okay, so there are old save files. Okay, so as fucking charming as I'm sure this interaction is going to be when we get to it, I've been reading a fucking encyclopedia for an hour, and I need to give my mouth a break. Before it breaks fully. So, this probably wasn't the best introduction of this game, because this game truly is very charming and fun and animated and lively and exciting. But there was so much encyclopedia. Oh, man. So, on the next episode, we'll actually get into more of the story. I mean, at least we got to see the setup for the narration and get some of the character interactions between the narrator and whatever the fuck her name was. I don't even remember anymore, because I've just been drowning in fucking an admin. But anyway, I'm gonna end the episode here. Sorry, this is not the best first impression, but please tune in for the next part where we actually get into more of the happenings of the story. If you would like to play this game for yourself, the link to it is in the description down below. It's on Steam, though it is still in development, so be kind. Also in the description down below are various ways to support me, including following me on my social media pages or my various crowdfunding resources like Patreon, Ko-fi, Amazon wishlist, etc. Also down below is the subscribe and bell buttons if you want to be notified when there are future episodes of this particular series. And if you liked this game, in the cards up above, I have included some other series that I have already done that you may enjoy as well, in order to pass the time. With that all being said, I have been the Trained Unprofessional, and you're not. Bye, everyone! Oh man, what a party.